From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Well, hello, Mr. and Mrs. America. I am Keith Allen, and proudly welcoming you into this Thursday's edition of For the People. On this Thursday, November the 9th, 2017, it is your daily infusion of what's going on, mixed with good old-fashioned common sense, and it is a rarity. I understand this is a gem. So if you're new to the dial and you're new to the broadcast, this is something that can be experienced, believe it or not, Monday through Friday. We do 2 hours. Some stations, they do standalone is what standalone hours, and that's fine. Don't feel totally left out because they're standalone hours. So, but anyways, we run our mouths for 2 hours Monday through Friday on a lot of stations and on forthepeopleshow.com. Appreciate everybody joining us today. The Texas pastor, you know, he lost his daughter, which was just sad, 14 years old, and he's been speaking out about the whole gun conversation and what he's going to do moving forward. Pastor Jamie Chapa, he's been talking, and he's got a church there in Sullivan City, Texas. He is, along with the other pastor that lost his dear daughter, 14 years. Gosh, when I hear that, I just think it's so weirded out because I have a daughter that's the same age, so I can't fathom how in the world. Anyways, the South Texas pastor said that he decided to implement changes in the wake of Sunday's shooting at his church, at First Baptist Church, as far as in Sutherland, with guns. So pastors all over Texas are saying, yeah, strap them on, carry them. We're going to use them. I'm going to carry a gun when I preach, and everybody in that area is all for it, and they have no problem with it. Texas is one of the states where you can actually have a concealed weapon, but a lot of churches, they want you to leave, in schools, they want you to leave their firearm, at the door or in your car. Don't bring it in. But, but here is what really tears up liberals that want to get rid of the guns. If it wasn't for the heroics of those that tackled the guy with a gun, blew his head off, more or less, if it wasn't for those that were able to legally carry him, there would have been worse carnage. And that if people were actually strapping, how many more bullets do you think this guy would have been able to get off in the sanctuary? So not more. Now, there are people of faith that might be a little divided on this whole issue of pastors carrying guns because, thou shalt not kill. Well, if you're protecting your flock, which is the biggest job and responsibility as a pastor, you're to protect your flock that come out to see you. Jerry Falwell, Liberty University, they're putting scanners in and all sorts of detectors just to keep people safe. This is the world that we live in now. So don't be surprised if you go to a sanctuary, you might go through some kind of detector. To me, I'm all for it. Listen, we accept it at the airport. But back to guns. Should a pastor carry a gun? In the wake of this, I say yes. What do you say? ForThePeoplesShow.com is our website, or directly to social media. If you're plugged in on Facebook, you log on to Facebook, just type in For the People Show, put your comment, let me know what you're thinking, or hashtag Talk to Keith Allen immediately now as we speak on Twitter, hashtag Talk to That's T-O, Keith Allen, and Allen's A-L-A-N. So hashtag Talk to Keith Allen. If you're on Twitter, it's the fastest way to weigh in on things and have folks weigh in across the country about this very issue that we're talking about here. It is a shame that we have to have the conversation, but I believe it will be something that if we don't talk about it, there'll be repeats. And so if churches can prepare themselves now for the possibility, I mean, little did you think, or did they think, that something like this would happen, this horrific, 26 people dead by this young, disturbed man, 26 years old, that went in and killed 26. I mean, just a coinkydink. I don't know if anybody's seen that number, pointed that factoid out to you. But the numbers match up, 26 years old, 26 people dead. Kind of weird. I don't know. Numbers follow me, and they just, I don't know what it means. But there it is. Maybe it just means nothing. Like I say, just a coinkydink. But I just thought it was interesting. It is a fact of the case. Does it mean that you don't have faith? If you carry a gun and you're not believing that Jesus is going to take take the bullet away, or maybe he wants you to die. People say, maybe it was their destiny. God tells us to take care of one another, love one another. And to me, the greatest of that is protecting at any cost or whatever you can do to stop this man from doing more damage, not only to others, but to himself. And obviously, they say he took his own life by a fatal gunshot, and he was shot multiple times. So I still not clear to me exactly what took him out, because he got blown away several times, and then he shot himself. It was one report. Coroner's report is going to be ultimately coming out. But there were shots came out, those that followed him at 80, 90 miles an hour with an assault rifle as well. I think something comparable to what he used. The same dosage, pretty much, of bullets and a barrage of spray that he used in the congregation, he got back at him. Little did he think. But, yeah, people stood up to evil and got rid of evil very, very quickly. Unfortunately, before he took all those lives. Just a tragedy. Did you see the pictures today out of Sutherland Springs? The carpenter had put 26 crosses with the names, and then families have been putting pictures on the crosses. Pretty powerful statement. Pretty powerful to see that. But we should all protect ourselves. Everybody should do that for their families, for their loved ones, for their congregations, for their schools. To me, we need to be ready. Michigan, by the way, is one step closer to allowing concealed carry in schools and in churches. Did you hear that? Yeah, this is true. They've been on it. This is a breaking news story. Michigan Senate passed legislation that would allow concealed carry of firearms in traditionally gun-free zones. The Michigan State Senate passed it. Yep, it happened yesterday. It's going to allow concealed pistol license holders to carry in traditionally gun-free zones, and the CPL holders with at least 8 hours of additional training of those who are certified firearms instructors could get an exemption of their license, exempting them from gun-free zones, such as stadiums, college dormitories, hospitals, casinos. The legislation would also close a loophole that allows for open carry in gun-free zones, but not concealed carry. Any exemptions? School districts could still make rules prohibiting staff and students from carrying concealed weapons. Private property owners still could ban guns on their premises. Universities could regulate carrying of guns on their campuses using their constitutional powers. So how did the vote play out? Mostly among partisan lines. One Republican Senator, Marty Nolenberg of Troy, Michigan, voted against it, along with all the Democrats. And you might ask, What do supporters of the bill say? Senate Majority Leader Arlene Mekoff of West Olive views concealed carry as a deterrent against potential shooting incidences. She says, I truly believe that law-abiding licensed citizens should be able to exercise their right and responsibility. See, interesting how she says, and responsibility. We have a responsibility to protect our family, our friends, our citizens, our neighbors. The National Rifle Association and Michigan Coalition for Responsible Gun Ownership both support the bill. It's kind of a no-brainer. Senator Curtis Hertel said allowing concealed carry, he's a Democrat, by the way, a lefty, allowing concealed carry at schools provides an additional danger for parents to worry about. Tell that to churchgoers that we just saw in Texas, Sutherland Springs, Texas. Tell them, please. And how about the hero that brought the shooter down? He had a gun. Do they forget about these things? Do they ignore these stories? Of course they do. We should not have to worry about them being a victim of gun violence, Hertel said. He said parents should be assured that when we drop the kids off at school, we'll pick them up in the car lane and not in the body bag. Well, folks, if you're sitting ducks and nobody has a gun, that's exactly what's going to happen. Does anybody remember Columbine? I mean, are these people living under a rock? Do they not follow the news? Do they not watch the news? Do they not look at a newspaper? Even the Washington Post, the Times, their left-leaning papers, they reported on these facts. I read it in their papers. I don't get it. I don't know what booze or what crack cocaine they're smoking, but they are out of their gourd. The bill will go to the State House for a vote sometime after Thanksgiving. If it passes the House, it's unclear how Governor Rick Snyder will decide on the issue, but Snyder, a Republican, vetoed legislation that would have eliminated gun-free zones in 2012, just 4 days after the mass shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary. And that was the other one in Newton, Connecticut. I believe in light of all these happenings in our country, it's more evident, and you would think it would be, that people would be supportive of, yes, licensed, responsible, gun-holding Americans are able to protect these zones, churches, schools, universities, etc., allowed to do it. And for one thing, it's kind of like having an air marshal on an airplane. Does anybody get upset? Does anybody get annoyed when you know that there's an air marshal? Sometimes you don't even know. On a lot of flights, there are air marshals. Do you feel more comfortable if you knew that there was one on there? Of course you would. Because you would say, this person's packing. You can't, but they can. And by the way, the flight attendants are trained to take people down with martial arts. Did you know that? They know how to take somebody down, literally, with their hands. That's part of the job. Yeah, you'll think differently the next time you go on a plane. They don't serve drinks, and some of those cute flight attendants, they're not there just to make you feel good because they look good. They're there to literally protect passengers. That's their main job. But should we just get rid of the air marshals, and should we just do away with safety protocols? They do this just to protect people, and that's a good thing. Guns save more lives. I know, screaming liberals, they're going to hate this, but guns save more lives each and every day, every single day. It doesn't seem that way in Chicago, though, does it? Thousands of people dead. But guess what? They got the strictest gun legislation in the country, so it's not that